Hello everyone, my name is Kaldish, and if you're new to the channel, then welcome. I've been playing Pokemon Mystery Dungeon since probably before I was 10 years old. And when a lot of people talk about the best Pokemon spin-offs, you'll hear a lot of talk about Snap or Stadium or Pokemon Go. But for me personally, and a lot of fans who grew up on the Game Boy Advanced and DS era of Nintendo, nothing quite hit the same as Mystery Dungeon. These games were rich, emotional, and deep, and surprisingly philosophical. It wouldn't be the kind of game you typically expect from Pokemon. And yet, here we are, 10 years later, with no new entries in the series. I mean, sure, we got a remake of the original Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Rescue Team back in 2020. And don't get me wrong, I love that game. I know that a lot of fans are kind of divided on that game specifically, but I think it's one of my favorite Mystery Dungeons, honestly. But that was 5 years ago, and still, no sign of anything new. And honestly, I really think that's the biggest mistake, because this franchise really deserves more. Now let's talk about why I think Mystery Dungeon hit so hard in the first place. The core idea is simple and brilliant. You are the Pokemon. Not a trainer, not a collector. You are an actual Pokemon thrown into this world of mystery and adventure, and a lot of heart. It's a setup that completely flips the traditional Pokemon formula. Instead of capturing any creatures, you're connecting with them, forming rescue teams, exploring dangerous dungeons, and saving the world in stories that are way more emotional than anybody expected. It's basically a Pokemon isekai with some roguelike elements to spice things up. These games really had soul. They took Pokemon, something that's already beloved, and added storytelling, character development, and an atmosphere that rivals other RPGs of the time. And here's the crazy part. Mystery Dungeon used to be the biggest series Pokemon had outside of the mainline series. The earlier games sold millions of copies. Explorers of Sky, Darkness, and Time all sold more than some Metroid titles even have. And yet we haven't seen a new one since Super Mystery Dungeon back in 2015. That's a decade ago. I feel like if Metroid has such a niche fan base and still can cranking out games the way that the Metroid team does, and according to these charts, that's accurate, the Mystery Dungeon games sell about as well as Metroid does, I don't see why we couldn't get a new Mystery Dungeon game in 2025. Meanwhile, other spin-offs have gotten revivals. Pokemon Snap got a sequel, Detective Pikachu got a movie and a follow-up game. Even Pokemon Cafe Remix keeps getting updates. But what about Mystery Dungeon? Nothing. And that's so weird to me because it has that emotional storytelling that Pokemon fans have been asking for. It's a series with massive nostalgic appeal and a proven track record of success. This isn't some obscure hit with a niche cult following. This is one of Pokemon's most beloved spin-off series, and it's just sitting on the shelf collecting dust. If there was ever a perfect time for Mystery Dungeon to make a comeback, it's right now. I mean, think about it. Pokemon is experimenting more than ever right now, and Legends Arceus proved that fans are ready for bold ideas. Scarlet and Violet proves that an open-world Pokemon game could really work, even if it's a little rough around the edges. Imagine if they just combined that energy with the emotional storytelling of Mystery Dungeon. Give us a world where we can explore full 3D dungeons and make emotional bonds with our team, and see modern Pokemon in a Mystery Dungeon world. And the Switch 2 is perfect for that kind of game. The hardware can finally do justice to that art style, the environments, and the emotional cutscenes that the series is known for. And let's be real. Rescue Team DX proved there's still an audience there for Mystery Dungeon. It sold well and got positive reviews even as a remake of a 2006 game. So imagine what a brand new entry could do today. For me personally, Pokemon Mystery Dungeon isn't just a fun side game. It's a core part of why I fell in love with Pokemon in the first place. Back on my DS, these games felt magical. It wasn't about competitive battling or grinding. They were about adventures, friendship, and purpose. I remember staying up late as a kid, exploring dungeons, and rescuing teammates. I don't really have a better spot to put this in the video, so I kind of just crammed it in right here. But did you guys know that if you had both the Game Boy Advanced and the DS copies of Rescue Team, and you had them both in your DS, and you got stuck in a dungeon, you could switch to your other copy of the game as long as they're both in the DS, and go save your team from the dungeon with your other team. These games really were revolutionary. It's more than just nostalgia. It's about what Pokemon could really be. These games showed that this franchise could take risks, tell deep stories, and make players feel something genuine. And I think it's about time we got that feeling again. As a final message to Nintendo, the Pokemon Company, and Spike Chunsoft, if you're listening, please bring back Pokemon Mystery Dungeon. You've got the fan base, you have the technology, and you have the series that means so much to so many people out there. Because at the end of the day, Pokemon Mystery Dungeon was never about the dungeons. It was about making connections. And I think that's something we could all use a little bit right now.